Hello everybody and welcome. I'm Leanne. I'm a book artist from the Pacific Northwest, and today we're going to be making this darling little book. This is a great book on its own. It's cute. You can use it to just take notes, or if you wanted to, you could put it in one of your fabulous books. Here's what it looks like in the inside. You can put a picture in it. I put that in there, but you can put anything in there. And then they've got these pages, just coffee-dyed pages, and I've used these little button tabs to turn the pages. Isn't that fun? We're going to be making this today. I'm going to be using this digital printout. If you participated in my scrap scavenger hunt challenge in my Facebook group, you received this for free, so you can have that. But if you weren't part of it, no need to worry. I have this on my Etsy shop for only a whopping 99 cents. So for 99 cents, you can get this, and you can make the exact same book. If you don't want to do that, that's no problem at all. You can look for something and make something similar. It's a win-win situation. Okay, let's get going. What we're going to do first is cut out the image. So I placed the images on the cutout right next to each other. So if you just cut along this line, and you can use your paper cutter, you don't have to use scissors like I'm doing now. Sometimes I just like the freedom of using scissors rather than pulling out my paper cutting contraption. So cut it out like this so that you still have the spine in the middle. So I've got a little bit of white. If you have a little bit of white on your page as well, you can do like I did and trim it off. But it's really, there's no need to worry, because all you have to do is take your distress ink and then ink it up, and then you're good. It'll cover up any white spot. So I'm going to distress my edges right now. But I also want to, and you don't have to do this, but this is what I want to do. I'm going to take my edge punch. This is a crocodile edge punch, and I'm going to do it at a 1/4 inch. And I'm going to punch just a little rounded edge on each of these corners. I like the look of that. It looks perfectly fine without it though, so if you don't do that part, no need to worry. And then this can just be folded in half right along that line. Now with that line, I do also want to still bring my ink back up along the edge. So it looks like actually I folded mine not so great. So I'm going to go back, just give it another little crease. So now that I have that done, you can keep it exactly like this, or you can do like what I did on this one. I distressed the front cover a little bit more. I wanted it to have a little bit more of a used, grungy, brown feel to it. And I do that just by lightly skating, I could say that, right? My little pad across the surface. And that just gives it a little grungier look, a little more used look, and little areas I can apply a little bit more pressure, and it gives a little bit more color to it. Next, what I want to do is do the little insert pieces with the coffee dyed paper. You don't have to use coffee dyed paper like I did here. I just like the look of it, so that's what I'm going to use. And let's see what I measured this one. 3 7/8 of an inch and 5 1/8 of an inch to be exact. So I'm going to go ahead and take my paper cutter this time and cut it on that. Okay, I have my paper cut now. Right here is 3 7/8 of an inch, and then it's 5 1/8 of an inch. This is my leftover paper, but I'm going to use that in this as well. So you can put as many pages as you want. I'm just going to use the 4 pages, and then I'm going to use the extra pages. This is a different size, but I'm going to use the extra pages in here as well. So what I'm going to do with this, I'm going to fold this in half, and I'm going to go ahead and cut the corners and ink it just like I did on this one. Okay, there's those sheets. This is a specialty dyed paper. I didn't realize when I was using it. So it has a little extra pattern on it. But any one is fine that you use. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and use these two. So these aren't going to cover the whole distance, but it'll look like that. And I actually like the look of having different size papers in there personally. If you don't like that and you don't want to do it, don't do it. If you want to add just all the same pages in the same sizes, go ahead and do that. But I'm going to go ahead and use these little pieces. Okay, so I've got that done, so I want to put that one there, and I'm going to put the other one in the inside, like that. So these are ready to go inside of my journal now. And they're going to go just like that. I want to just kind of making even spaces between the top and the bottom. I'm going to open this up, just double check to make sure my pages are okay. Like I might scooch that one up a little bit. If I hadn't, it would have been no big deal to me though. It would have been gorgeous just like that. Okay, so I like where the pages are, so I'm going to take a clip and just put one on each side, pressing into the seam to make sure I have my paper completely down into the middle. Now what I want to do is do the sewing portion. If you've never sewn before, I'll go slow, and I'll also put another link to some other sewing tutorials that I have done on it with the exact same thing. But you should be able to do it with this. So I'm going to take some string. This is just a crochet thread, and I want to go about 3 lengths of what I'm going to be sewing. So that's 1, 2, 3. That'll give me plenty of thread to sew and to tie off my signature. This is called a signature. So I'm going to thread it up, and we're going to begin. So I don't tie off the bottom or anything, I just leave that because we're going to be tying it all together at the very end. So if you have an awl, you can use your awl to poke the holes. But for this, there aren't that many pieces of paper. I'm just going to use my needle, and I'm going to be guessing spaces. If you feel like you want to measure and find the exact middle, go ahead and do that. I feel comfortable just kind of poking it in what looks like the middle to me. So I'm going to just poke it on through those layers. And so I've got that. And then now what I want to do is go up. So I'm going to determine how far up by this piece of paper. So this piece of paper has an edge right there, so I want to at least go to right there and right there. So somewhere up. So I'm going to look again. I've got plenty of room. I'm going to go there. That's maybe about a 1/2 inch from the top, I would say. Just guesstimating. And I'm going to do kind of an equal distance down here. Poking through. And that poked through all of my papers. So this is how you're going to do your signature stitch. You're going to start in the middle and pull your thread through. Now you can go either to the top or the bottom holes, whichever one you feel most comfortable with. I like going to the top hole. So I'm going to start, I'm going to find the hole I just created, I'm going to pull my needle through that hole. Now we're going to go through the bottom hole that we punched. And now we've gone through all of the holes, so I'm going to go back into my middle hole. Whoops, the little critter fell off. I'm going to place my thread through. This thread's coming over that side of the line. See where that has the line of the thread? And now I'm going to poke my needle through, and I'm going to pull it to this side of the thread. So I'm going to just make sure I've got it nice and tight. And then at this point, I'm going to make a knot. Oops, lost my thread. The thread I have is a little bit short. I should have, or could have, made a longer thread so it would have been a little bit easier. And I'm going to do 2 knots. And then I'm going to cut it off. So depending on what kind of thread that I use, I like putting just a little teeny tiny dot of glue just to make sure it's going to hold. It's not always necessary, but sometimes I don't do that, and I wish I had, just because it's a type of thread that has a little bit more give to it. So while I let that dry with that little piece of, or little part of glue on it, we're going to go on to the next part. What we're going to be doing next is adding these little side pockets. You can cut yours if you'd like. I'm going to rip mine. I liked the look of it being ripped. And for that, we're going to use this little piece of music. So I'm going to once again cut it out with my scissors. This was done in half. So I hold it this distance. I don't know if it matters which side's up or which side's down, really. If it matters to you, there is a word at the top right there that might be with the word side up. Anywho, go ahead and fold it in half. Then you've got that. Now what I want to do, I want to rip it down. I'm going to start at the top corner and pull it down. And by pulling the paper up towards me, I'm going to get that white edge paper look. I like that look. Now if you don't want to do it this way, you can go ahead and take your scissors and just do a nice clean cut across the edge. So it won't hurt my feelings at all. But it might make you feel better if you like that clean cut look. Okay. So there you go. I've got that already. And then I'm going to do the same with this piece. So this is going to go on the back of my book. So I'm going to cut it, have the angle going this way. So I'm going to start at the bottom and I'm going to rip up towards the top. I like having a nice point more so at the top. The bottom I don't mind as much if there's a little lip like that. So I'm going to go ahead and give it a little ink again. And now I have for the back. So that's plenty dry now, so I'm going to go ahead and place these in. I'm going to clamp that so it doesn't pop up while I'm doing it. Before I do that, I want to put something on this to just distress it up so it's not too white looking when the rest of it is different color. Just your distress ink works great. If you have some kind of a stamp, like a word stamp, that would look awesome too. If you don't, no biggie. So I'm going to take my word stamp, punch it there, take my word stamp, and also do a stamp on the back. And then continue on by adding my distress ink. Like I say, if you don't have a word stamp, don't worry about it. They'll still look gorgeous anyway. I'm going to go ahead and put my supplies away, and then we'll start on the next part. So, like I said, putting a little clip right there, we're going to be working on this part of the page now. These are the ones that I prepped. What I like doing when I'm making a pocket is putting something in that pocket to make sure I allow enough space so that I can actually insert something. Sometimes when we make pockets, we have it flat to the page, and then when you get ready to put something in the pocket, there's no space. It has no give to it. So I'm just putting this down in the quarter, maybe like it's less than 1/4 of an inch from the edge, but I did leave a little edge. And if you wanted to, you could also round out the corner of this piece as well. I haven't in either of them, but I've thought about it. Thought it might look cute. So now I'm just going to turn these pages, and I'm going to put my back pocket in. So before I put my back pocket in, I want to make sure I have something to stuff in there. So just a little bit of glue all along the edge. And then, same as the front, we're going to place this down. And this is my placeholder to make sure I have room, space, to put it in. The next thing we want to do is going back to this. We're going to use these buttons as little tabs. So I'm going to use 2 per tab. So I'll cut off the white part. So I can go ahead with this and do a little grunging on it if I want. It just makes the edges more distinguishable. Right there. And we want one, I have it on 4 of the pages. I didn't put it on the little pages, although you could. I might do that on this one just to see what it looks like. So go ahead and cut those out. Okay, I actually don't have enough to completely put them on the little pages, so I'll have to figure out what I want to do. If I want to put it on one of them, or if I want to reprint it so I can have it on all of them. We'll see. So I'm just folding these and just lightly inking the edges. I have to be careful because I don't want my ink to go over my buttons at all, because it'll take away from the buttons appearing as if they might be real. If we use real buttons, it would be really bulky. So doing this is actually quite nice. Okay. What I used also on this is just a little bit of cheesecloth. So I'm going to cut a portion off that I'm going to use. So what I do, I just take a little teeny tiny piece. It doesn't need much by these buttons. That's how much, so let's see what that looks like. So I am tempted to put one just at that first page right here. I think I'm going to do that. So we're going to do the first little teeny page, the mini. Okay, so I've got this cut and ready, and so what I'm going to do, what I found easiest to do, was just put glue at the very top of that fold, enough that it's going to go over this page a little bit, and fold it so it's going to be secured to that page, but I have this lip of the, let me go closer. So this folds up right there. So I have that lip, so I can take my little cheesecloth, put some glue on that, and the glue will seep right through the cheesecloth and it'll adhere both of them. So I'm going to do that to the side. So I'm going to put glue and then bring my cheesecloth in, and it will just take a hold of all of it. Isn't that fun? So I don't need this there anymore, so I'm going to move that out of the way. So I have 4 of these. Well, I will have 4 again. I have 4 of these that are going to go on each of the pages. So I'm going to put one at the top on the front page, one at the bottom on the back page, and then I can figure out where I want these placed in the middle pages. So they're going to be sticking out just a little bit, not a little bit so that it goes within this space that I've allowed in between the signature and the edge of the book page. And I should point out, I did just print this on normal copy paper. You could print it on cardstock if you would like your book cover to be firmer. Okay, so I've got a little glue there, and I'm going to put this at the top, and I'm going to look, and I have it just a little space out. And that's good. So I'm going to take one for the back page, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to put the glue on it. I'm going to find my very back page and then kind of put it down and see how far I want it sticking out. So that's what I have for that one and that one. So both of these are now sticking out and peeking out from the book. Oh. Now I can go ahead and do the same with these 2. Kind of figuring out, okay, so where do I want it? I want to visualize that one there. So this one I'm going to put it right about here on the second page. I'm going to peek it in and then just make sure it's sticking out sufficiently so that I can see it on the edge. I'm going to ink this one up and then place it in the book. Okay, tucking it in. There. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and take my cheesecloth and I'm going to put just a little bit by each of my tabs. Okay, so I've got those in, got that starting it, and I've got one more button. So now I have to decide if I want to continue with the buttons. I think what I'm going to do is grab my sheet and see what other pieces I can use. I think what I'd kind of like to do is maybe use some of the flowers. Now, like I said, you don't have to use anything. If you look at this little book I made, I didn't put anything on that little piece. I just think I want to on this one. So let's do it. Okay, so I don't want all of this dark background, the khaki color or whatever the color is. So I'm going to kind of go around it. And then what I want to do, I kind of like a rose. So I'm going to kind of cut there and fold it. And then just kind of cut around. So let's see what this does. I don't like too much there. Around it on that side. Alright, one more look. That'll do it. I'm going to do something with the flowers coming out. So I'm going to put a flower here. So then it's away from these pieces. I'm going to go ahead and do the front portion now. And so we're going to be using this piece right here. So for this one I want to cut it kind of at the very top of where it says Mansfield. See that? Because I wanted that part sticking out of my book. Just about like that. So I don't want all this extra back here. So I'm just going to kind of take a cut from like over like that. See that? So I've got enough sticking out that will stick out nicely. I'm going to go ahead and do my inking again, do the back of this, and then I'm going to go ahead and glue it on. So I'm gluing that edge, and then I'm turning it over so I can see where it's going to pop out. I want it popping out about the A. So I've got that down. And then for the next one, you can see I kind of turned it more sideways so you can see the whole little ad there, like that. So I'm going to go ahead and ink this one up. So I've got that. So I want to hold the book so that I can see where I'm going to glue it. I want this side peeking up, and then the bottom just peeking out on this side. See how it does that? So I'll kind of position it where I want it, how I want it angled. Then I'm going to hold on to it, and I'm just going to place a stream of glue along the edge and press down. That way I don't have to lift it up and it'll stay in the spot, and then I'll go back and glue more of that top edge. So now I want to try a few things. I've used this flower there. I've got my blue. I've got a word I can use for an edge, which I think is actually kind of interesting. I'm going to do that for the next one. So I'm going to distress this so it's not like blinding white sticking out at you. fold it in half, and I'm going to determine where I want it. I think I want it about here. So I'm going to glue the whole thing down like that. So I'm going to do something where I can use this in the book. So I folded that, now I'm going to cut it, and now I can put a half page here, a little thing. I would like a little rounded corner on this one. I'm not going to pull it out, I'm just going to cut it, and then I'm going to ink it, and then do my edges. So let's stick a little thing there. So now I have this one I can still use someplace else. So I'm going to add color a little later. I think, ooh, I haven't done that page. I think I'm going to do it right there. I like it there. You know what? I didn't ink that one up, but that's okay. I'm going to tuck that there just to make sure. I like how it brought that color throughout. So, I'm going to cut this out and see if I want to use it. I think I'm going to use that one right there. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to cut along the silhouette of the cats. I'm going to make a bottom, cut like that. I'm going to put this at the bottom of the page to tuck something behind it. I do want to do the edges and put a little ink just on the area where it's more white. So then I'm going to take my glue right along the bottom, not too much, in a straight line, and I'm going to put that there. I like that. So now, so this is, at this point is when I might pull out my cutting tool for these words, because it'll be obvious if they're not straight. Well, a little more obvious, yeah. But I'm going to cut them like that. While I'm at it, I'm just going to cut this gal out. It really would have been best too if I cut her with a cutting tool. Just saying. Just saying. Okay, let me do a little cleanup here and get rid of this stuff. So I can still use some more paper coming out, sticking out here. So I'm going to just kind of fold that about the size. That looks nicely there, or it looks nice. I could put a word, wonderful. I like that, and I think I like it not all distressed up, so I'm just going to put it like that. Wonderful. And let's turn. So I can put a little paper right here. It needs to be a small one. So I'm just kind of folding it and trying this one out. And I think I'll want it shorter. I want it like right here, so I'm going to cut that off. Now I can put something at the top there if I want, and I do think something like this is good to have inked up, because you just see those lines a little bit better. I like that better. I'm ink up these edges, not my wonderful. I'm leaving my wonderful as is. Putting that there. Okay, let's turn the pages and see what we've got. Got those, that. I can take this out now, but I can put a little piece of paper in there. So I'm going to do that. So, and I can put little tags there. So for the tags, I think I'm just going to do that right now. I'm going to use this. Okay, this is a 1/2 inch circle punch. and I'm going to use it for my music. So I need 4 of them. So I can ink my edges. Once again, just adds a little bit of interest. You certainly don't have to. It's easier if you hold them together like this, because it gives a little bit more strength to the paper and it kind of bounces off the other side a little bit. So it gets a little ink too. So I could do the full circles, but as I look at it, for the size of the book, I could just fold the circle in half and put it over the edge. I'm going to look at it and see which one I like better. I can fold it like that, or I could do full circles like that. I think I like it just the half, so I'm going to do that. So since I've got, when I fold it, I get a little bit of the white and it's hard to get a perfect fold, I'm just going to go back over this, make sure I get that white area on this side, so it won't shout out at me quite as much. See how it disappears? It's not shouting anymore. So I'm going to lay down some glue and then place it on my string. So you can do it so that your string is completely enclosed, or sometimes I've done it where the very bottom of my string is peeking out a little bit. Sometimes I like that look. So get a little bit more ink on there, and the same thing. Okay, I like that. Okay, this is where I wanted. So this is just a little slim page. I almost just put a few of these in like that. Makes it an interesting, just different kind of a feel from the other pages and inserts. So I do have this, and so I think I should make a little pocket with that too. I could put that there, which would make it interesting. And I will just put it sticking out this way instead of a pocket this way. So I'm actually going to put glue at the top, and I'll show you what I'm going to do. I do want to do my distressing. So I'm going to glue just here and along those edges, kind of creating a C shape, and the pocket's going to go right here. Now I want to make sure I do have that room, so I'm sticking that in. Okay, a look again. So I should do something on these pages in here. So I do have more music still left, so I'm going to do something with that. So I want to do something different than I've done with the other ones. I don't want to keep on doing the same thing. So what I'm going to do is make, I think, a belly band out of here. So I've got enough that I can go from there to there. I'm going to cut that off, and then I'm just going to kind of cut along that line. So now I have a nice little band I can put right here. I'm going to cut it just a tad bit shorter because I don't want it to interrupt my seam too much. I don't want it sticking over the edge. So for this one, I want to decide where I want it, if I want it lower, or if I want it in the middle, right exactly with that. And I think I want it just a little bit higher. Oops, I should get my ink on. Get your ink on. And then my 2 edges like that with ink. So I'm going to place this, and then once again just grab something to kind of, well, I don't want it that fat. I want something that I can put there to hold the space. Okay. I've got my beautiful still, and I've got a button, and I have a little bit of music left that I can work with. So let's see what I want to do. I could put something over here still. I think I would like to do that. I kind of like that just as a decorative piece. So I'm going to put these two dots right there. Got those. I need a piece of paper right here. And I don't want it to go into my button area. So I'm going to go like this, and I'm going to go wide. So I'm going to make a piece like this. I think I'm going to go shorter. Okay. I think what I'd like to do is do something at the top right there. So I have these words right here. Enjoy is one of the words. I think that is a great word to be able to use in the book. So I'm going to stick it over the edge so that it looks like a tab for this particular piece of paper. Giving just a little bit glue on the bottom, enough to adhere to the top of this page. Like that. Alright, that works. Now let's see. This can come out and a little piece can go in, and it could be this one right here. So I'll go that one to about that height. So I'm just going to continue cutting up and place that right there. I do want to ink it. Yeah, like that. Then let's see what we got. We've got this page here. So I'm going to put wonderful, and I think I'm going to do a little stamping by it. Or I see a little, I have a little music left. I'm going to put just a tad of the music sticking down from my wonderful, like that. Brings the color in. Back to this part. I like the button on the back. I'm going to ink the back of this because it's not going to be a full tab, but I want it to stick a little bit. But I don't think I'm going to do, well, I'll wait to commit. But I'm not sure that I want to do all the frilly stuff. Maybe I should though. Let me look. I can still put it on. Yeah, I should still do some. So I'm just laying some glue on the top because I already glued that part of the button down. And so it just places it in there. So I like the two pieces there. So I do have a little bit more things I can use. So let's take a look. So I've got that. That, I like that. That. This is pretty simple here. I'm going to just slightly put some words on that page. I'm going to use the leftover ink for that page. So I actually don't have anything tucked in here yet. Oops. I could tuck this girl up and tuck her in there. I like that. So it's as wide as this number 4. That's what my glue has, and a little more room. So I'm going to tuck it. I'm going to fold it just so that her eyes are showing. So I did the crease right above her eyes, like that. So it's about not the same size. Makes it kind of mysterious then. I like that. Okay, wonderful. Got the kitty. I'm going to put this little scrap at the top. Doesn't have a real form or anything, but I think it'll work. And I've got this. I could put you. I don't know. I like that. So it just adds a little bit more curiosity. And you can interpret the you however you want, right? So I'm going to put a little glue. I kind of feel like it should have a little color. I don't want the whole bird, but I might see if I can just like cut out, I mean, I don't want the whole nest. Cut out just the bird portion. Got to ink it up though. It's got all those white in it. I don't know if it's perfect there. Okay, I'm going to just switch the page and keep looking. Got that one. I might take like half of the bird nest coming out somewhere. I think I like that. Okay, so I'm going to ink up this half of the bird nest where that white was sticking out. And I'm going to glue it and I'm going to put it down. Okay. So this would actually be sweet right here on the tag. So I'm going to try to do a little fussy cutting, get rid of just a little bit more of the paper around his face. If you don't like fussy cutting, don't worry about it. Don't do that, but I don't mind it. Okay, so I'm going to glue him. His crown will stick up. Him, it's her, it. The birdie, like that. So it would actually be cute. I wonder if I can pull it up a little bit to have some of the cheesecloth by the bird. Let me see, I have just a little bit right here. Because then it'll look like it's like getting its nest, you know, getting its stuff. Maybe I'll put beautiful there. And just lightly ink it. Okay, and that. I'm going to put that up in the corner. So I need to just shave the edge a little bit. Should have looked for inking first. In there, and so for those, I could just tuck this in down here, bringing the color in. I could also catch it on each of the tops. I'm going to do it on the tops. So I'm going to cut my 4 in half and glue it up. This one I think I'm going to cut down a little bit because it's too bold for that small of a piece. So I cut it down about that size. And get up and that works. Okay, let's take a look and see what we've got. Okay, front here, wonderful. Got the little kitty. What I might do is try to add this. I've got a little rosebud left from earlier. Just see if I can put it in there. Okay, I'm going to do that. I'm going to put this right in between the two pages. And boy, am I ever using just every little smidgen of that printable. Like that. So it brings the color in a little bit. And it softens that look so it's not so contemporary looking. Okay. So we've got that. We've got our beautiful hiding little girl. Not little girl. She's not a little girl at all. She's a lovely lady. Okay. She fits perfectly. Look at that. I still have this left. Could do that in that corner if I wanted. Okay. Then we have this. And that's where I'm going to use it. I'm going to use it right there. Add a little more life to this piece. Okay. And then we've got this. A little distress ink along or around that bird nest kind of coming out. This. I'm going to put this at the bottom. It's a leftover from those little circle punches. And I'm going to do just a little bit of a word punch, word stamp. All right, one more time. So we've got this, that, lovely, that, and that. I like it. So a few little slight changes. I do want some little distress work going on these two little pieces. There's enough ink left on my stamp. I didn't have to re-ink it or anything, but it just adds a little bit more movement. And I think I would like to add some of this color on there, bring it in, you'll see, from the blue. But what I will do is make it even smaller than the previous one. So I'm going to cut this little thing in half. That, and then on the other side too. Okay, I like it. And there. So the last thing I want to do, I feel, is work on this little spot just a tad bit more. So I feel like a word would be good, and I've got create left. So right now let's work on the string. So what I have is kind of just like a baker's twine, except it's solid. It's one color. I don't recall where I got it from, but just think of the thickness of a baker's twine, except it's simple. So what I want to do, I want to wrap this around several times and leave room for it to be tied. So maybe something like that. So 3 times. I like my tie kind of on the front. You can make it a full bow or you can make it a half bow. I did a half bow on the other one. Looks like that. So you can glue a portion of this down if you want. Like let me show you. Like once you undo it, there's going to be a portion that needs to stay on there. Like this. See, you've got the one end, and then this end would stay on. So you could use a glue like this, that would hold it, glossy accents. Or what you could do is glue it on, and then glue something over it that will hold it. So I'm going to glue that there, and then I need something over it. I have this still left over, believe it or not. So I'm going to just kind of cut this down. Oh, I wish I had a button left. I would put one of the buttons right over that. That would be worth like printing it over again. I think I would like to glue to distress the edges. My ink is kind of dry at this point. So ink that up, and by placing it over the top of that, it's just going to secure it and hold it in place a little bit better. So just like that. So that's holding it. So then I'd wrap this side around, and once I get to that third point, then I've got it where I can just tie my bow. And then that way you won't lose the bow to your book. Like this one, see how it just comes loose? This one's better for the book. I should point out what I did though before. So this ink, if you can, it's not real noticeable maybe on camera, but I didn't want it a full bright looking string. So what I did, I took my string with my distress ink, I got this going, and I just pulled it up. And as I did that, ink came off of there, and then it just changed the coloring and the feel of my twine, or whatever you want to call it. Baking twine, whatever it is. Whatever thing you're using. I wanted it to be a little bit darker than the white, so that's how I accomplished that. And then now that I'm done, I think I might actually put just a few other smudges on here. Particularly the edges, to make them a little bit more distinguishable. Like it's been handled a lot around those edges. Alright, so I'm not going to tie it, but let's take a look. So we've got that, right? Fabulous. Then we're going to undo it. As you open up your beautiful little book, you've got your tag right there, sweet little button, so you've got multiple layers poking out, creating interest. Little tag pulls out from the kitty. Turning it again, you've got a nice plain page for notes, but the colors, isn't that nice how actually those go up like that? You've got our mysterious little girl you can pull out. Little girl, I keep calling her that. She is a delightful young woman. She might not even be young. This one pulls out. Fabulous. Got our little tags going on from the ribbon. that we tied it with. We've got our belly band there with the bird and the nest. Beautiful, wonderful. Turning it again, great little pocket there, again. And there you go, a fabulous little book. Isn't that fun? I hope you enjoyed it. If you would like, you can get the printable at my Etsy shop. I'll put a link down below. It's only 99 cents to make it easy for you. So have fun, enjoy your crafting time, and just have a great day. Talk to you later. Bye.